A kindergarten teacher is trying to explain to her class the definition of the word definitely. To make sure the students have a good understanding of the word, she asks them to use it in a sentence. The first student raised his hand and said, "The sky is definitely blue." The teacher said, "Well, that isn't entirely correct because sometimes it's gray and cloudy." Another student says, "Grass is definitely green." The teacher again replies, "If grass doesn't get enough water, it turns brown, so that isn't really correct either." Finally, Billy raises his hand and asks the teacher, "Do farts have lumps?" The teacher looked at him and said, "No, but that isn't really a question you want to ask in class discussion." So Billy replies, "Then I definitely just shit my pants." A rough and tough cowboy finishes his drink at a bar and gets up to leave. A minute later, he comes back in saying, with a mean look in his eye, "I'm going to sit down and have one more drink, and if my horse isn't back where I left it, I'm going to have to do what I done in Texas, and I really don't want to have to do what I done back in Texas." True to his word, he sits down, orders another drink, sits in the silent bar, and finishes his drink. He then gets up and walks outside, and sure enough, his horse is back tied up where he left it. As he's just about to ride off, one of the other patrons timidly asks, "Mister, what was it you had to do in Texas?" The cowboy gets a far-off look in his eyes and says sadly, "I had to walk home." During Vietnam, a black man, an Asian man, and a white man are on a stakeout in the jungle, far from their base. They get a call from command saying it's about time to resupply. The white man says to the others, "All right, I'm going to go pick up some food. Black guy, you go get the ammunition, and Asian guy, you're going to get the other supplies. We'll meet back here in 3 hours." They part ways. 3 hours later, the white man returns to the stakeout site with a backpack full of food, unloads it, and waits. Then the black man comes back with the ammunition. They sit and talk and wait, but no sign of the Asian man. After waiting a couple hours past the meeting time, they decide to follow the road back to the main base to see if he got lost. They walk for quite some time when the Asian man jumps out of the bushes and yells, "Supplies!" Whoa, drunken Irishman in a graveyard. Paddy starts reading the gravestones. "Mick," he says, "would you look at this? A feller here who was 90 when he died?" "Who's that?" says Mick. "Somebody called O'Toole from Cary," he replies. Mick says, "Never mind him. There's a feller here called Murphy. Was 99 when he died." From Castletown, of all places. "Well, that's nothing," says Paddy. "What about what written on this feller's stone, here right beside the gate?" "The stone says 147. 147? That's amazing," says Mick. "Who was he?" "Well, according to the stone, it's somebody called Miles from Dublin, a Selwyn."